Dolphins head up to Buffalo, where the Bills are favored by a field goal. Let's take a look at the odds to win the AFC. My Chiefs still in the driver's seat.
Get out of here.
Followed by Buffalo, then Miami, who scored 70 points. Then the Ravens at Cincinnati were below 500. So, do the Bills deserve, Nick, we'll go to you, to be ahead of the Dolphins?
I'm glad you're going to me, as I'm the only person on this set that believed in the Dolphins before the year. Picked them to win the division. I don't think anyone else here had them making the playoffs. You did? Yeah. The Miami Dolphins?
I mean, once Aaron Rodgers went down.
Exactly. Before the season,
do I have to pull out the bylaws?
Okay, as I said.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
As I said,
I'm picking the Jets.
I'm the only person who believed in Miami and believed in them to win the division. And once again, this is the media propping up Buffalo. Just is. I mean, the media, Vegas, whoever you want to say, it's just, again, Buffalo has looked excellent the last 2 weeks. That's undeniable. But the idea that they should be considered a more viable Super Bowl threat than Miami is ludicrous. Now, by the way, the biggest questions we have about Miami is quarterback health. The biggest question we have about Buffalo is the quarterback going to give a game away? Is the Miami, there's real questions. How are they going to look when the weather gets bad in playoff football? With Buffalo, there are questions of how are they going to look when the weather gets bad and it's playoff football?
It's Buffalo weather.
Yeah, when it's Buffalo weather. Right. Like Miami wants home field. I think Buffalo maybe doesn't want home field. Maybe both these teams want Miami to have home field. They're like better off in the sunshine. So, no, the Bills could win this weekend because they're at home. And, obviously Miami's going to be come down pretty hard from a 70-point game. But no, Miami to me was the better looking team before the year. Since then, they've scored 70 points. I'm going to say they're still the better looking team.
I would agree. Look, they just hung 70 on a Sean Payton team, so they should probably be ahead. And you're right, Nick. I mean, the Bills' odds have always been high, surprisingly high. But I will say this, there's a little, I think the reason is, you said, the Bills have looked great the last 2 weeks, and there's more balance to their offense. Like, they're rushing the ball now, and it's not Josh Allen doing the main rushing, it's James Cook.
You're not saying more balance than Miami, you're saying more balance
more
than
balance
Buffalo
than they've
previously.
been. It's not like it's all Josh Allen all the time. And defensively, Coach, the Dolphins are giving up basically 24 points a game. The Bills are giving up 12. So I just think that those are reasons you could look and say, I think I like the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Nick only counts offense, so defense doesn't come into play.
You like Vic Fangio. Oh, you're going to sit here and denigrate Vic Fangio.
No, there's no denigration. It just is what reality is. And when you look at it right now, the Dolphins are number 1 in points, number 1 in yards, and the Bills are number 2 in points and number 7 in yards. But if we can pull up the graphic, let's pull up and look at the difference defensively. Okay, the Bills first in takeaways, the Bills second in points per game, second in yards per game, second in sacks, and look at the difference defensively for where Miami is. So I know we're only going to look at 70 points against
Sam Howell giving you the ball.
Well, I'm just saying, you're looking at 70 points against a Denver team that's in disarray, and suddenly that catapults them over the Bills. And when you look at collectively a team effort, because there's two sides,
that's fair.
Special teams. I mean, those.
Yeah. No, that's fair. But to be clear, they didn't catapult. For me, it didn't catapult Miami. I thought Miami from before the season started was better. Mm-hmm. Also, I think Buffalo's defensive front has looked excellent. Right. They should at some point get Von Miller back as well. Miami should get Jalen Ramsey, you hope, back at some point. But it should be noted, Buffalo's defense, statistically right now, Wilds, might be benefiting a touch from what I call the Zach Wilson, Jimmy G, Sam Howell trifecta that they have gone up against.
Well, they could win this weekend, but that won't really matter.
No. Okay, hold on. Wouldn't you expect? Well, I don't expect either of these teams to sweep the other. I expect Buffalo should win its game at home. Miami should win its game at home. I think when you have two excellent teams in a division, usually that's how that goes.
Miami needs to win this game.
You think Miami needs it more than Buffalo?
Yeah.
I think Buffalo needs it. Because Miami played well against Buffalo last year. And obviously in the playoffs, almost beat them with Skylar Thompson. So I think Buffalo, just for their psyche, like, we keep rolling. They need to
score 70 and then they score 18. They're
going to score.
Lamar under 500 after a loss to Indy.
Under
Baltimore.
500?
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Baltimore heads to Cleveland this weekend.
This is not under 5. Maybe
2-1.
Wilds does moral victories.
I'm sorry, I counted the more. I counted them.
Yeah, because we were talking about how week 1 was like a moral
I'm
loss.
sorry, I made a terrible mistake. I was counting the Texans as a loss. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're actually 500.
Don't actually
One win,
count
one
the
loss,
standings.
one more loss.
How can
Lamar bouncing back. Just because I don't know this record. I don't have control of the show. Lamar vowing to bounce back. Brew, are you worried about your Ravens?
I'm not worried when they're healthy. Look, they lost to the Colts. I get it. The Chiefs, the Super Bowl champ
Here we
last
go.
year, lost to the Colts. It happens.
And you brought it up all year as a reason to not believe
No,
it.
no,
all
I just
year.
brought it up as a
How
fact.
many times have we
I
brought up
just
that
brought it up
Colts
as a
game?
fact.
Week 3 at Indy last year.
It was
as an
a
indictment.
surprising loss. I just brought it up as a fact. But no,
We're still
look,
bringing it up.
My main concern, because I expect, look, they got a new offensive coordinator. Obviously, it's going to take a time to adjust. I think, like the Eagles, they're going to get better over time offensively. My main concern with them is staying healthy.
Well, that's always the concern.
I mean, that's like Bateman. Now, OBJ's been out. Now Rashad Bateman's out. All 4 of their running backs, we know J.K. Dobbins is out, but all 4 of the running backs are injured.
Yeah.
Like Gus Edwards now, like if they can stay healthy in the defense, they got 9 of their 22 starters are hurt.
Yeah.
So, and I think as they get healthy, they'll be fine. I'm not concerned, but the main thing is injuries.
Well, they had the injuries going into the game. They had more guys injured. They're going against Cleveland, who now has the #1 defense. And when you look at where they are offensively, so he threw for 202 yards, so okay. But really, the production, again, was on the ground. It's 100 yards on the ground. It's 2 scores on the ground from Lamar, and they're pushing the offense to be a pass-first offense. Yeah. And at some point, they may have to realize they're going to need a lot more
design runs.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of that, but they're going to have to continue to lean into that because he's just so good at that, and it makes a huge difference.
You going to run against the Browns?
The Browns got a great defense, but the Ravens don't lose games like that Colts game. They were 16-1 in Lamar's career when he ran for 90 or more in the regular season. The one loss was the crazy game against Tua last year. He ran for 106 and they lost. That's very odd for them. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.